Well, hello and welcome from I Hear of Sherlock Everywhere, the first podcast for Sherlock Holmes devotees where it's always 1895. I'm Scott Monty.
I'm Burt Wolder.
And we're here to give thanks. You know, it is running into the season of Thanksgiving here in the United States, and we recognize Canada has already had its Thanksgiving, but there's never a bad time to pay thanks to people like you, our patrons, who have made what we do possible.
Yes, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And I'd just like to point out that as you look at these pictures and you see not only the books behind Scott and myself, but also the very warm electric light, that without you, we would have none of them.
There you go. Well, we'd like to specifically call out some of you who have been supporting us from the very early days. People like John Raby, whose father, Bill Wilmer T. Raby, was a longtime BSI. John, of course, is with NPR out in Los Angeles and has been supporting us very early on, recorded some promos for us. Thank you, John. People like Peter Calamai from Canada, who takes us with him in the car and to bed at night so he can fall asleep more easily as he listens to our boring shows. You know, this is a public service that we provide here, and we're very happy to do that. We also have people like, oh boy, Terry Hunt. Well, you know Terry, right, Burt?
I do. Terry Hunt, a great Morley scholar. Terry and Linda are great friends of ours, and it's great to have, you know, their continuing support, but also their engagement in discussing all the facets of this hobby, which includes people who have a real affinity for and interest in Christopher Morley.
Absolutely. Also want to call out Jim Sosinski, Jennifer Casasanto, Catherine Wilson, Kevin O'Brien, Jeffrey Langolis, Rob Nunn, Mark Jones. You know, these are people that are supporting us on PayPal as well as on Patreon. If we go over to Patreon, we've had some longtime support from people like Mary Miller, who's been with us since, again, the earliest days. James O'Leary, who has been on the show, contributing on the air as well as on ihearofsherlock.com with some essays. Linda Hine from out in California, we appreciate that. Bonnie McBird from Art in the Blood and her other tales. I think they're probably stacked up behind me there. We keep getting some wonderful books from Bonnie, and we appreciate that. Who else do we have? Martin Schwartz is a regular contributor, as is Michael Bush. I know we recently had an increase in funds from Scott Dawson. Thank you very much, Scott. Bob Steck, Andy Solberg, Eric Deckers has been with us, Julia and Al Rosenblatt, who have made it their mission to help us get transcripts funded. You know, that's one of the things. If we get to a certain level, if we can get to $100 per show, we can afford putting transcripts together to make it possible to make our shows accessible for people who have hearing issues. They can read along with what's going on here rather than simply just listening.
Yep. Yeah, but you know, it's may look to you who are watching this that Scott is reading from a list, but in fact, both he and I have memorized the names of all of these people. And before we lay ourselves down to sleep at night, you are mentioned in our prayers. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
It is, and that's part of what's in these books behind me is a list of all these names. You know, we could go on and on. We could do a scroll if we wanted to, you know, like the movies, but nobody reads that.
No.
People do like hearing their names called out, and I apologize if we've missed anyone.
Right.
But,
although it's well known, Scott, that you are best boy.
I am best boy, and you are key grip.
The key is I thought I was the Foley artist.
Or the dolly.
The dolly.
You know, if we didn't mention your name, well, I'm sorry, but that's an incentive to start giving more, so your name will pop to the top of the list. That's how it works here. And I hear of Sherlock everywhere. But seriously, we do appreciate everything that you've done for us throughout the course of 2018. We have the BSI weekend coming up in January in the early part of 2019, and I hope we'll get to see some, if not all of you there and get to thank you face to face and to shake your warm and lovely hands.
Yes. So thank you again from both of us. Thank you all, and have a great Thanksgiving.
And until next time, this is Scott Monty.
And this is Burt Wolder.
And
the game's afoot.
The game's afoot.